Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Let me get my Bible. I want to face the east and give all praise to the one true power. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadaj. Yahweh is the most high God, and Yahushai is who the world inly calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of great millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching his word and believing in his word, Lord willing as a whole, that you all continue in sound doctrine and in the same spirit. Lord willing, you are edified, by this camp, by this lot. We come out here to prophesy the downfall of Babylon, aka America. We come out here to prophesy the fall of Esau Edom, who is also known as the so-called white man and woman, or Caucasian, right? We come out here to prophesy, the gathering of the elect, the children of Israel, from man, women, and children, right? We come out here to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. We do not use our own opinions or facts. We like to use what pertain to the scriptures, the Bible. We come out here and do what Yahushua told the disciples: go out to the highways and byways and bid them to the marriage. And of course, like Ezekiel, regardless if they hear or forbear, we're really supposed to come out here to be a public show. Like the title of the live, of course I might go into other directions, but the title of the live is "The Next Kingdom is going to be better than this kingdom," right? Speaking of America, NATO and EU, all kingdoms or all empires that's ruling on the earth, the next kingdom is going to be better than the kingdoms that's actually ruling the earth right now, right? Because they're ruling the earth in wickedness. Better yet, let me start here. Let me start over here. Second Ezra is the 15th chapter. Bear with me because my head is I gotta wait for my medicine to kick in. So this is Second Ezra, chapter 15, in verse 3. It says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the cruelty of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord Jehovah Ba'ashem Yahushai, I will bring plagues upon the world, a sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Right? Who polluted the earth with wickedness? Right? Esau, Edom. When we go back into the Greek captivity, every time when Esau got into power, wickedness increased. After Alexander the Great, wickedness increased through his successors and the Antiochus Epiphanes. Wickedness increased with the 12 Caesars, or the 12 feathers in 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter and verse 12. Then, when Rome fell, let me see if I can get that. When Rome fell, Esau could not wear out the nations. Where was it? Salaki, y'all. I gotta get it. I want to get the right one before another precept come to mind. Okay, I think this is it. Oh, yep. It's Revelations chapter 20, verse 2. I said at 1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand." The key represents power and authority. When you go to Revelation 1 and 18, Yahushua has the keys of David, which is Christ. That means he has various power and various authority of all different kinds. So he had the keys to put the beast in the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is Europe because it's an unbarren, unfruitful land. Pit is land. That's 2nd Esdras chapter 5, verse 24. Okay? The beast is Rome. Verse 2, and it says, and he laid hold on the bottom, on the dragon, that old serpent. The dragon is representing Israel. The old serpent is going back into that man in the beginning that beguiled Eve. Because the same spirit that beguiled Eve, that same serpent spirit is in the nation of Esau Edom, which the dragon is speaking of Rome. Revelation, the 12th chapter, when it spoke about the red dragon, that was speaking about Rome. Okay? John the Revelator is seeing it in a vision. So it becomes a metaphor, it becomes a prophecy. But you have to know the history, right? In order to understand who's he speaking about. So Revelations 20, verse 2, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. This is speaking before the Renaissance, like around the Dark Ages, the fall of Rome. I think that was 467 BC, but it was 400 something BC when Rome actually went downhill. From that, they went into the caves for about 800 to 1,000 years. Okay? It says, and cast them into the bottomless pit, which they went into the mountains in Europe, the Caucasus Mountains. It says, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he could not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. So wickedness was less on the earth. It was still in here, because without the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you know, Israelites, they were still going off, because eventually we got into captivity. But the world wasn't growing in wickedness, because Esau Edom was in caves. They were in the Caucasus Mountain. Go look up the word Kroglodyte. Kroglodyte means a cave dweller. When you go in the scriptures and you look up the dwelling of Basra, Petra, you see that the cave dwellers was Esau Edom. They chose cave or high mountains because it helped them with war. You got to look into history. Yeah, yep, there we go. Yep, 476 AD. Yeah, we get paid. We get paid. We get paid by the Lord. Lord willing, one of the brothers that got the ranch can come on here, man. So again, when Esau was put in the hole, right, they didn't afflict. Wait, what did it say? It said they would he should deceive the nations no more. But when he came out of that lower state, he started to deceive the world when he came out of that lower state. Because when you go to Revelations 11, it speaks about the same beast. Revelations 11 in verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit. What's the bottomless pit? Europe, unbarren, fruitful land. 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, verse 24. Right? The Lord chosen one pit out of all lands. He hollowed Zion. Okay? Pit is land. So the bottomless pit would be Europe, an unbarren, an unfruitful land. Right? It says, the beast ascended out of the bottomless pit to make war against them. It shall overcome them and kill them. Who was this beast when it came out? Who did it make war with? It made war with the children of the Lord, because it's predestined. Other nations that had war, you know, when Rome came into power, when Rome made his alliance, that's part of your lot. But for the children of Israel, it goes back to Adam. When you look at Adam, the other trees, which was men and nations, they were jealous because Adam had gotten the breath of life. So the other nations, starting with Esau Edom, is mad or jealous because the children of Israel, because of the birthright. I had a video where this Edomite, where they had in a movie that Esau was tired, you know, and he wanted that birthright. Okay? I forgot the point that I wanted. It's going to come back to me. So again, Esau Edom could not deceive the world. So he was in that lower state. But then eventually the Lord raised them up and they became a plague in the earth. They went to make war with the northern kingdom, went to go capture the southern kingdom. But they were sent by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Esau Edom does have something to do with the gospel. Gospel means good news. So when it pertains to Esau and good news, is that he's going to be destroyed in the end. Right? Gospel just means good news. When you go to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter, when you start at verse 6, it says, "Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. But by me also they should be ended, and none other. Then answered I, and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." If you can't even understand that verse, you can't even say the dumb stuff that you just said, that Esau not part of the gospel. If Esau is the end of the world, when did the end of the world happen? It never happened, because Esau is still on the earth. End time prophecy, Esau Edom is of the red dragon, which was Rome. We can go into the book of the Christendom, which shows you in page 210, the Greeks gave their power to the Romans. And they tell you in the book of the Christendoms, Romans were Idumeans. That's the Greek word for saying Edom. Romans were Idumeans. The Greeks were Idumeans. But we know in history, the Greeks is really descendants of Japhet. The Romans are descendants of Japhet. But the Lord moved Esau to these other lands. Yeah, they were red, but red as in speaking of the blood showed through their pigment. Not that their skin, like they're literally red, you know, it's their the pigment, the blood pigment that you see through their skin. Y'all really don't, you're not really digging into the Bible enough. Because when we deal with Jacob and Esau, when you go to Genesis, the 25th chapter, the things that were said did not come to pass, right? Jacob ruling was supposed to be forever. That's what his blessing is about. His blessing don't start with David. That's the foreshadow of the kingdom. Didn't Yahushua say a greater Solomon is here? He said a greater Solomon is here. So David, Solomon, Saul, that was a foreshadow. Really, Solomon's kingdom was a foreshadow of Yahushua. He had freedom for 40 years. 40 is a spiritual number. 40 means new beginning. Yahushua is the Prince of Peace. Solomon means peace. So when you look at Genesis 25, when it speaks about Jacob, all his brothers gonna bow down to him, that was supposed to be forever. But when you hear Esau's blessing, when does that take place? It took place when it started in the Greek captivity. He had to start his empire. He had to start his power. But really, it started in the last empire. Because when you go to Daniel 7:23, it said that the fourth beast would devour the whole earth. Only the revival of Rome devoured the whole earth. So Genesis 25, verse 24, it says, when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, not identical twins. It's different variety of twins. It says the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. Esau just going into the name of red or wasted away. He wasn't hairy yet, but it was saying the red of the pigment was shown like a hairy garment all over his whole body. It says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. Isaac was the 60 years old when she bare him. right? Him grabbing the ankle of Esau was a prophetic message describing what was said in Genesis 3. I'll grab the heel, he'll wound the head, flipping to who afflicted Yahushai? Esau, the wicked son, right? When Yahushai come down to take this kingdom, that's symbolic to Esau's reign. Him being in the womb, for you to be the first one out is the position of you're going to be in power. You got to understand the history. You got to understand the history that was going on, right? For Esau to come out first, who had an empire first? Who had a kingdom first? David, the descendants of Jacob, had an empire before Esau. But Esau being pulled by his ankle is the example. When Yahushua returned, he's going to be Jacob. Basically, he's symbolic to Jacob because he's going to pull them down from power. How? Let's go to Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Y'all really don't have that imagination. You really don't know. This is Daniel chapter 2, starting at 44. It says, in the days of these kings, who is the kings in Daniel 2? The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Syrian-Babylonian Empire, the Persians, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, the Greco-Rome, and then the revival of Rome. These are the kings. It says, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. This hasn't happened yet. Where is that kingdom? Because every kingdom up and left, right? It says, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. That's the feet of the statue. You Israelites that were scattered 4 corners of the earth, we're in the feet, which is Babylon and NATO and EU, the top power of the earth. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, and the clay, and the silver, and the gold, the great God had made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. The dream is certain, the interpretation thereof is true. So Nebuchadnezzar is having a dream, a vision of the end. But first, what was happening? Babylon had to rule. Then the Persian Medes had to rule. Then the Greeks had to rule. Then Romans had to rule. Then Rome had to fall. And then it had to be a revival. He's seeing the vision of these empires. Okay? When you look at the word races, races just mean you're of your own people. When we go into the scriptures, the Lord he constantly say, my people Israel, my people Israel, I have chosen you to be peculiar out of all nations on the earth. That's racist. That's being of your people. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. Let's prove it. So again, we're still dealing with the next kingdom coming is going to be better than this. Look, anybody that's speaking Shabba Dabba Ding Dong is getting removed. Shalom, King. Wait, hold on. Wait, not you. No, yeah. Salaki. Not you. You good. It's this dude. Whatever the heck this is. Salaki, y'all. That one brother, wait, let me see. That one brother that just said Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, what camp you watch, man? I just want to make sure, man, before I just put brothers on. So again, when Yahushai come, he's going to take down all kingdoms. But Jake want to just chill. You don't want to learn. You want to be stuck on dollar, 9 to 5 work, right? You gotta. Okay, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Even beautiful. You said GMS. You said you only watch GMS. I'm only doing this. There you go, brother. Anybody you see that look like a bot or saying Shabba Dabba Ding Dong, remove them or put them in timeout. All right. So again, when Yahushai come, he's taking down all kingdoms. And when Yahushai rule, he's going to rule in righteousness. That's Isaiah chapter 32, verse 1. It says, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. This has not happened yet. The earth has not been ruling in righteousness since Solomon, technically. We need Yahweh Shai. We need this kingdom to be broken down. We need this kingdom to be stripped and taken. No, I believe Yahweh Shai, who you call Jesus, is a God. I don't believe he is the Most High God, right? So when Yahweh Shai comes, he's going to rule the earth in righteousness. In righteousness, okay? When we go to Revelation, the 19th chapter, because Yahweh Shai, John the Revelator is giving us a plain vision of Yahweh Shai. When we go to Revelations chapter 19, starting at verse 11, it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, which is speaking about a chariot. That horse is symbolic or meaning to power. It says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true. In righteousness he doeth judge and make war. Why? Because Yahweh Shai himself is a man of war. When you go to Wisdom of Solomon 18 and 15, it says that almighty word leaped down from thy throne to a place fit for destruction. He's going to come down here in power and glory, and he's going to set division. He's going to separate the sheep from the goat. When you go to Matthew the 25th chapter, the goat is really talking about Esau, Edom. When you go to Daniel the 8th chapter, it's only one nation that was described, the he-goat. That was the Greeks. Who was the horn of that he-goat? Alexander the Great. So when you go to verse 3, it says, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. The many crowns go back to Daniel the 2nd chapter. When he comes and he strips all these kingdoms from their power, that's the example of the many crowns. Like what me and the brothers would say, many crowns, because he's going to be Lord of Lords and King of Kings. He's going to strip these other nations. Yahweh Shai is not going to say, yo, please give me your empire. No, Yahweh Shai is going to strip that power from them, man. Right? When you go into Daniel the 7th chapter, right? People had to take a video of me. It's nothing that I can do. When you go to Daniel the 7th chapter, verse 18, it says, let me start at 17. It says, these great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. So when we went to Daniel chapter 2, he kind of described the kingdoms. Babylon, the Persians, Persia-Medes, the Greeks, and the Romans. He describes these kingdoms, right? So verse 18, it said, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. When you look up saints, you go to Psalms 50 and 5, Psalms 148 verse 14. It's going to say it's Israelites. But we know all Israel is not going to get saved, because saints mean faithful. So who is the faithful? They have to be peculiar. They have to be like Noah. Noah, because you know the scriptures, history merely repeats itself. Noah's family was symbolic to the elect. Noah was a savior because the Lord used him to build an ark. But the elect would be his sons and their wives. You see that? And the nations came back through their sons, and the Lord separated them. When Yahweh Shai come back, he's going to separate the goats from the sheep. When you go into Matthew, the 25th chapter, we're going to show this because it's very important. Because in America, America is a country mixed with all nations. There's no division. The Lord is going to bring division. Luke, the 12th chapter, he said he do not come to bring peace, but division and a sword. Matthew, the 25th chapter. Verse 32, before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. When you go to Daniel the 8th chapter, because it's just a sense of humor. So he's going to make division. The sheep is the elect, starting with the men. Because you look in Ezekiel, the 34th chapter, verse 31. The flock, the pasture of the Lord is men. Okay? You other sheep are under the men, but the sheep of the Lord is men. Okay? He's going to separate the elect men from the goats. Who is the goats? We could just look in the scriptures who was really called the goat. You're saying LeBron. It's not LeBron, man. Daniel chapter 8. Verse 5, it says, and as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. The goat had a notable horn between his eyes, and he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with color against him, and smote the ram and brake the two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. What is this talking about? This is a prophecy. Daniel is speaking about the he-goat. The he-goat is the Greeks. The horn, the notable horn, because horn means power or kingdom or king. Who is that he-goat? It is Alexander the Great. What's the ram that had two horns? The ram is speaking about Persia, Medes. Before it was just Persia, but it became two, Persia, Medes. Let's fact check it, because we like going in the Bible. Who's the goat? Esau. Right? We're going to prove that. The he-goat is the Greeks. But we got to prove that with the scriptures.
That's it.
This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim. Because when we talk about the he-goats, who did Alexander have to fight to beat the Persian Medes? He had to fight Doris. Here we go. The land of Chittim. And had smitten Doris, king of the Persians and Medes. So when you go back to Daniel chapter 8, when verse 6, it says, and he came to the ram that had two horns. What's the two horns? Doris, king of Persians and Medes. Alexander, he smit them. That was the he-goat. The he-goat was the Greeks. The horn of the he-goat is Alexander the Great. How can we prove that? Because when you go back to Daniel 8 and 8, it says there the he-goat, which is the Greeks, waxed very great. When he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven. The horn broke, meaning that horn, Alexander the Great, eventually died. The four notable, Salaki, the four notable wings are the four successors. So let's prove it. Alexander the Great died. Verse 2. 1 Maccabees 1 and 2. It made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then he died. And his servants ruled every one in his place. So when Alexander the Great died, they split up the kingdom, and they divided the Greek Empire from Seleucus, the Ptolemy Greek Empire, to Macedonian Empire, so on and so on. Wickedness increased when the Greeks got in power, which is the he-goats. And we just seen the Lord said in Matthew 25, he was going to separate the sheep from the goats. Who was the goats? It was the Edomites. The Lord is going to divide the goats from the sheep. Those sheep that he's going to divide is the elect. Because some of you Israelites, not some, many of you Israelites have to be killed. In order to make it into heaven, you got to be killed. Right. Yep. Go ahead and teach them, King. Right. Yep. Yep. So, hold on, because of the brother saying something very important. Right? Because when we do these lives and when we out in the highways and byways, I'm not only out here for the ones on the camera, we out here for everybody that's outside. But we come out here to teach because this is a house of learning. This is the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 51, verse 23. The train going past. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 51, verse 23. Draw near unto me, ye unlearned, and dwell in the house of learning. To be unlearned is not to know shit that's going on in the Bible. For people to constantly say Esau is done away with, or the Lord loves everybody, it shows the Lord haven't given you the sense to understand the scriptures. Because there's nowhere, even in old history, the Lord show he loves everybody. So then when we get in the New Testament, now he loves everybody. This is a house of learning. What is the number one nation that is the enemy of the Lord outside of Israel? Because the first enemy would be the Israelites that don't believe. But who is the first enemy of the Lord that's in the Bible? That was to show you, have you been learning? If you don't know that, then that means you're not learning. So again, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 51, verse 23. Draw near unto me, ye are learned, and dwell in the house of learning. So when we pick up these scriptures and we say we're speaking about the Most High and His Son, Yahushua, you have to be teaching. You have to be willing to educate and edify people on history, circular history, in the past, languages from Hebrew to the Greeks. It might sound confusing, but when it comes to belief, you have to learn. You have to be educated. The word edify means to build up. So what are we being built on? We're being built on the knowledge and understanding that has been given unto us. Nah, brother, these words wasn't given to us from heaven. Man wrote them. I mean, yeah, man physically wrote them, but they was inspired by the spirit that was in the heavens. By faith, we believe that, because no man can truly speak of the Lord without the spirit in him. So this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 1. It says, behold, thou in the ears of my people, Salaki, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. What is prophecy? Prophecy is predicting the future. Most Israelites was predicting the future by the words of the Lord. No other nation was truly doing that. Okay? It says, it caused them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. Now we can fact check that the Wycliffe Bible was the first Bible printed on the printing press. Let's just fact check it. What Bible was the first book to be printed on the printing press? It was the Wycliffe Bible.
The Bible was the first major book printed in the West using a printing press.
Hold on, let me see.
Around 1455.
Oh, Salaki, they corrected me. The first major book printed in the West in using mass-produced metal movable type in a printing press was the Gutenberg Bible, finished around 1455 in Mainz, Germany. Wow. That's the first Bible that was printed. And then so on and so on. The Lord was moving people on the earth to get this word out. Now the teaching, you was moved through the spirit. But when it comes to writing, we have an example in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, where the Lord put a spirit on Ezra to speak from sun up to sundown. And the Lord put a spirit on 5 men that was scribes to write the words Ezra was saying from sun up to sundown. They were rewriting the first books of the Bible because the heathens burnt it. Okay? The Lord was using Israelite men. When you go, I got it in this phone. I got an article from Europe where it shows that King James were getting 47 scholars of Hebrew and Greek. And these were known Hebrew Israelite scholars that translate the words from different languages. That's all. The Lord been dealing with all the times. When you go into prophecy and you connect history that's in the Bible makes sense. So again, the kingdom that's about to come is going to be better than this kingdom, right? Because the Lord says, eyes have not seen. This world is constantly feeding you physical pleasure. This place is not spiritual. It never had been. That's why the MOTB in Revelations, the 13th chapter, cannot be spiritual, because your ruler never been spiritual, right? When we go back to Daniel 7, because again, we're speaking about this wicked ass kingdom. Daniel, the 7th chapter, going down to verse 23, it says, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. What's the fourth kingdom, the fourth big empire on the earth, that Daniel prophesied? That was Rome. It says, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. Ancient Rome, which was the fourth beast, did not devour the whole earth. It had the known lands. But when Rome revived into this American NATO EU arms stretched out empire, this is when they devoured the whole earth. That's why when you go into Acts, the 1st chapter, verse 6, the apostles thought that Yahushua at that time was going to restore the kingdom of Israel, because they thought that they was in the small horn, because they knew they was in Rome. They knew the little horn came out of Rome. That's Daniel chapter 7, verse 7 and 8. But they had no understanding. That's why Yahushua said in the 7th verse, it's not for you to know, because that wasn't the time. This is the time. Who is the little horn? Right? This little horn is devouring the earth. Now let's get into the real business. Before I go to Revelations 13, the things that, Lord willing, you're understanding this. Deuteronomy 29, verse 29. The secret things belong unto the Lord Yahweh our power, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So these are secrets, but if they're revealed to you, they belong unto you. Right? But only thing though, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, then it don't necessarily belong to you, because those that have a possession, you play with. Like if I give you a toy, you play with that toy. If I give you a car, you're going to drive that car. You're going to wash that car, right? The Lord, anything revealed to us, like if we got the name, you're going to use the name. If somebody said his name is Yahweh Shem Yahushai and you're not using the name, guess what? What was revealed unto you and you couldn't see it, that means the Lord closed your eyes and closed your ears that you can't hear and you can't see. Guess what? What was revealed that you can't see don't belong to you. What belongs to you is because you believe and you see it and you get it. When you go to Luke 24, let's see what Yahushua did to him, right? Because there was a lot going on where Jake couldn't understand. This is Luke 24, verse 44. And he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me at that time. If we looking at it in our time, it's still things that haven't been fulfilled. Then opened he their understanding that they might understand scriptures. They was going to understand what all the stuff he was talking about, because he opened their mind. Everything, when he first started his ministry, him just opening their mind right there, they understood everything. The Lord is opening our minds spiritually, step by step. You got to hope that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is dealing with you, because if you can't understand who out of all nations, who's the number one enemy of the Most High and his son, if you don't know that, then you haven't built a relationship with your power. The brother dropped Sirach 39, verse 24. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. right? The wicked starting with Israel, and then the wicked of the other nations. If Israel, if you were Jake, you were Israelite, you can't get it, you're considered wicked, plain as day. If your mom and dad can't get it through the spirit, they're considered wicked. But the other nations, if they damn sure can't get it, they're not of us. This is very plain upon tables, but you have to be spiritual. To be spiritual means you're connected to the Lord. To be spiritual, you're connected to wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Your imagination is as a spiritual child. So again, Yahweh Shai opened their mind and they understood. How do you think the Lord is opening your mind? Through the Spirit. That's why it says in Matthew 4:26, the Lord going to send a comforter and is going to give you remembrance of all things. But you have to believe. You have to take the time to sit and want to learn. Like a student. We can't make excuses, but when you was in high school, you was getting straight A's or B's. In the class, you never spoke against the teacher. If they asked a question, you would raise your hand. If you had an answer, you wouldn't say nothing. But now when people teach it, now everybody got something to say. I'm going to ask a question again. Everybody that's in the comment section that's not watching GMS, you know, the apostles. What nation by name, what is the top enemy of the Most High and His Son? Write it in the comment section. What nation is the number one enemy of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai? Since everybody believe they know the Lord, what is the number one enemy on the earth as a nation? Okay? So now these secrets are revealed unto us that the fourth kingdom devoured the whole earth. When we look at America and NATO and EU, they're devouring the earth. They're putting chemtrails in the air. They're making us eat GMO, artificial food. Our children want snacks and candy that got preservative things in it. They put a patent on natural fruit so people can't make money on it. You know, the medical field that's ran by who is it? What is it? John Rockefeller. Our medical system. You know, education. It all comes from your elites. These are things that we want to investigate on. Wait, hold on. I know one brother answered the question. But everybody else that's in the comment section, while you running your mouth, you should be answering the question. What one nation out of all nations in the Bible, who's the number one enemy of the Most High and His Son? Since everybody got a relationship with the Lord, everybody know what's going on in the Bible, who's the number one? And I took out Israel. Wait. Oh, okay. Who's the number one nation that's an enemy of the Most High? And I already know one person said the answer. I already know. Yeah, I know it is. Especially when you do this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Egypt? Nah, not Egypt. Yeah. Okay, somebody said Rome. But Rome is a place. That's not really a nation. In the ancient world, when we call them Roman, that's just the title, you know. But Rome was ruled by Edomites. Nation of Elam? The nation of Islam? No. Ishmael is not the top enemy to the Lord at all. That is not the top nation. Okay? The top nation, and this is how you know. If you don't know that answer, this is how you know you should be shutting up when it comes to when the word is coming out. The top nation of the Lord is Esau, Edom. See, the brother dropped the precept. Psalms 83 verse 6. If everybody got a relationship with the Lord, I know my Bible, you should know the top nation that's the enemy of the Lord. And if a person said Edom, if the person said Edom, and somebody say Edom is all destroyed, then why the Israelites not in power? That would mean that the Edoms have to still be alive. Because soon as Edom is taken, because he's the end of the world, then Jacob's rulership begins. His rulership was not supposed to be mortal rulership. It was supposed to be immortal. Okay? So this is Ezekiel 35 verse 1. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Now, some people would say the Lord is telling Ezekiel to prophesy to a damn mountain. That wouldn't make sense. What has a mountain done to the Israelites? No, he's speaking about the people who lives or who's from Mount Seir. You just got to go to Genesis, the 38th chapter. Genesis, not 38, Genesis 36. Who lives, whose possession is Mount Seir? Let's just use the Bible to find that out. So when you go to Genesis, the 36th chapter, when you go to Genesis, the 36th chapter, Genesis 36, I just want to go to the point that Esau's from Mount Seir. Let me get it. Let me get it. Where we at? Where we at? Sugars. Yo, when I be teaching, things just be rolling off my lips. And you know, I'm not as prepared as I should be, you know. It's chapter 36. I don't want to get my phone. I get my phone. Where we at? Where we at? Oh, here we go. This is Genesis chapter 36, starting at just reading verse 38, verse 8. It says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. So when you go to Ezekiel 35 in verse 2, when he's telling him to prophesy against Mount Seir, he's not speaking of the place, he's speaking of the people. Okay? And even at the time when Israel about to get removed, eventually Esau's not going to be living in their land no more at that time. Because when you go to Malachi, the Lord stripped them from their own damn land. Then they started to go to and fro throughout the land, just like what Satan told the Lord. Man, where you coming from? Going to fro, I'm coming to and fro throughout the earth. Okay? The physical deity of Satan is doing the same thing on earth. Yeah. And when people say, you Hebrew Israelite, this is not us. We just reading what it say in the Bible, man. The Bible say that. When you break it down slowly, put the precepts together, it makes sense. But when you make it have a feeling and an emotion, it's not lining. So back to Ezekiel 35 verse 3 again. It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemashai power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate, and I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. At one point in history, the Lord did destroy their place of comfort, but then they rebuilt the desolate places. So wherever Esau is basically Mount Seir, is their dwelling place. America is Esau's dwelling place. Europe is Esau's dwelling place. Actually, four corners of the earth, because he's devouring the whole earth. Okay, Malachi, chapter 1, verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains in his inheritance waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Right? Go look at the movie Transformers. I think it's Transformers 2. Did they not have Petra, Basra, Mount Seir in the movie? That place is desolate. But when Mount Seir first fell, he made it desolate. So what did Esau say in verse 4? Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh have indignation forever. So the Lord is going to always have anger towards Esau, Edom. And what did it say? It says they're the border of wickedness. So they're going to build, he's going to throw down. When Mount Seir fell, eventually they went to Rome. Eventually they went to Chittim. They went to Macedonia. and they built the desolate places. I mean, they stripped the descendants of Japheth. They overpowered the Japhites that were Romans, and then Rome became Idumeans because they overpowered the Japhites. They went to and fro. They fit the demeanor. They're the border of wickedness. You can never go past Esau. But even Jake is as worse as Esau because they became the border of wickedness because the law was given to us. Then when you further that in history, Esau did it again after Mount Seir, what they did to the Greeks, what they did to the Romans. But furthermore, they built the desolate places. When you come to America, it was a rainforest. 1609, it was a rainforest. The whole United States. From North America to Central America, it was a whole rainforest. When Esau came, they start stripping the trees. Go watch the movie Pocahontas. Didn't you watch the scene when they was cutting down trees? That's what they did here and to Central America. That's what the fuck they did to Israel. That's what they did to Europe. It became dry. Okay? They sucked America dry. But they built this place. This place had rainforest, tropical forest. And what did they do? They put buildings. Right? I'm in Buffalo, New York. Why is it called Buffalo? Because this was the place of the buffaloes. They stripped all of that. Now it's buildings. Animals not walking. Animals in the zoo. Okay? You just got to follow history. Very plain. Very plain, man. Call all Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Brothers, shalom to the brother Gabar Swords. Not Gabar. Gabriel, Salaki King. The Hopeful Prince. He dropped, what he dropped right here? So many brothers dropping some things. Yeah, we don't speak our own version. The Spirit moves us. 2 Peter chapter. Yup. The prophecies did not. No prophecy of the scriptures is of any private interpretation. When you see us read something and then we're given a sense, that's not in. We could say interpretation, but it's giving the sense, right? Let's fact check that. Let me show you something. I should go into the blue letter. So let me go into the blue letter. So y'all can even know what giving a sense really means. Right? Let me show y'all something. Where is it at? Is it Nahum 8 and 8? This is Nahum chapter 8, verse 8. There's so many names. I'll start at 6. And Ezra blessed the Lord Yahweh, the great power, and all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshiped the Lord Yahweh with their face towards the ground. Also Jeshua, Benai, and Sherebiah, Jemine, Akub, Shabbatai, Hadajai, Mashiah, Kalata, Azariah, Jozabad, Hanan, Peliah. The Levites caused the people to understand the law. How did they get them to understand the law? And the people stood in their place. So they read in the book, in the law of the Most High distinctly, and they gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading. What does it mean to give the sense? When you go to Nahum chapter 8, verse 8 in the NLT, it says they read from the book of the law of the Most High and clearly explained the meaning of what was being read, helping the people understand the passage. That's what's giving the sense, giving the meaning. There ain't no damn interpretation, right? They're already interpreting what is said in the scriptures. When you go to Jeremiah 24 or 25, you got the point when the Lord is speaking about, I think it's 24, when the Lord is speaking about the figs in the basket. You got the one figs that are bad figs and the other figs that are good. Later on in the chapter, he explains what's the good and bad figs. That's the interpretation. They're given a vision, a dream, or told something, and then the Lord gives them the interpretation what's being said. All we can do is give the sense. Okay? The interpretation is already in the scriptures. The Hebrew word is sakal, and it means to incite, understanding, good sense, knowledge, wisdom. Let me get another meaning. See, now my phone want to do something. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make sure I got y'all. So, give the sense means biblically to explain, hey, correct again, to explain, translate, to or clarify the Most High word so that people truly grasp its meaning. So we're not really interpreting what the scripture is saying because it's already interpreted, but we're explaining, we're giving a sense what was said in prophecies, parables, dark sayings, in history. That's all we doing when it comes to the Bible, you know. I can't what is it? Not interpret. What is it? Yeah, I can't give you my own interpretation. It's already interpreted, but I can explain it. I can give you the sense. This is what it means. And that's all it is. Because ain't no lie of the truth. The brother dropped Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh, oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, he getting in there. Oh yeah, don't mind me. I was just reading the brother's comment. That brother, he's talking to somebody in the comment section. So again, we're talking about the kingdom that's about to come is going to be greater than this one, because this kingdom is ran in wickedness. We seen that the fourth beast is devouring the earth. We're still in that hand of that beast. So when you go to Malachi, which I like how it's read in the NLT. Well, let's just go to Malachi. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. When you go to Job 9 and 24, it says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. We just seen in Malachi who's the border wickedness. That would be the nation of Esau, Edom, right? The red nation. That's the border of wickedness, okay? And the earth was given to them. Who gave it to them? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He's the one we blame, because Esau, Edom thinks he put himself in power. No, you didn't. The power, the God of Israel puts you in power to be a sword, to be an ass whooping to us, to be a plague in the earth, right? You even a plague to the other nations, man. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. Go watch the movie Pocahontas. They covet fields, right? Them Europeans, like Christopher Colum, however you say his real name, they were analyzing that it was Israelites over here, and they wanted to come to a known land before other nations came to get his riches. The Lord put it on them to come over here. It says they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his inheritance. So when we was having war over here, this is how they taught Jake how to do extortion. Go in people's house and kick them out. Go watch the movie Glory with Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson. They was teaching them how to do extortion. They were showing you Micah 2 in your face. So again, it says, they covet fields and take them by force in houses. They take them away, so they oppress man in his house, even a man in his inheritance. When we go back to Ezekiel, I believe the 36th chapter, it said that they took our land, the heathen and Idumea. They took it in the Greek captivity. They took it in the Roman captivity. Because who was the king of Israel in the time of Herod? Herod, and he was an Idumean. His father was an Idumean. Antipater. They took our land, and then when we got kicked out the land, they took our land again. Come on. The scriptures, you have to be able to see you and see the other nations in the scriptures. Right? When you go to 2nd Ezra 16, they say that they going, look, we see another example of Micah 2:2, where it says they oppress a man in his house. How are they going to do that? By stripping you out your house. Didn't they just do that in Minnesota, or I forgot what, Chicago, where they had them little kids outside in their diapers? When you go to 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, verse 71, it says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, to abduct and hide them that still fear the Most High, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. This is coming in the time of Jacob's trouble that Jeremiah and Daniel spoke about. But we just read in Micah that they oppress a man in his house, his wife and his children. And what do? And even a man in his inheritance. Guess what, Jake? In 2026, you don't even have an inheritance. Your heritage is back in your land. Call law Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, we are of that number to take it back. Okay? But let me just give you the fact check, because it said even a man in his inheritance, they'll take it. So let's just fact check this real quick. Let's go to Ezekiel 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Jehovah Shem Shai power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of their heart, with a despiteful mind, to cast it out for a prey. Who is Idumea? We can look in history who was overtaking the land of Israel. The Edomites helped the Babylonians take refugees back to their land, right? We can see that plainly. You know, you can go into Jeremiah, you go into Ezekiel, which we see. You go into Psalms, the 137, right? You can go into Obadiah, and you can even look it up and look at circular history. Okay? But then later on, when Israel, of course, we went back in the land in the Persian captivity. We were still in the land in the Greeks. We were still in the land in the Romans, but the Greeks were in our land. The Greeks were in our land. The Romans were in our land. They start taxing us, making laws, setting up rulers in our land. When the temple got destroyed, Israel fled, man. And Edom and the heathens took our land. Who's over there now? Who made shot? Who is the prime minister of Israel? That's not an Israelite. He is not no damn Israelite, man. They don't got not one video of somebody prophesying on the highways and byways. The Bible got to make sense. And if they're the people, it has to be a video of them prophesying to come in the truth. Where is them teaching the 2/3? So again, somebody took our land. We're not in our land, but it's people in our land posing to be us. Revelations 2:9, Revelation 3:9. But in history, Revelations 2:9, 3:9 is really speaking about Israelites. But as a double fold, you can use that for Esau, because on this side, it's only one nation that truly say they're the Jews. And I bet you, and it's saying on their ID. Okay? You know they watching us. Yeah, YouTube. We speak about the small hats. They're not the Lord's people. They're not the real Jews. Esau, Edom is the so-called white men and women, the Caucasian man. But guess what? We even have tears that look like Israelites, but they could be Edomites. They could be damn near Africans. They could be Moabites. So don't be confused with color, because it's not the color. It's just Esau, Edom is known to looking like leapers. But we can tell who they is first by the elites and by your demeanor. The Spirit tells us who you is. Just like in Romans, the 8th chapter, for those that's in the faith, your spirit bear witness that you are the children of the Lord. So how about the wicked? Romans chapter 8, verse 16, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Most High. It's the Spirit that's going to bear witness with you, who is Esau, Edom. So, but we don't come out here and look at, wait, that's the Edomite? We don't come to do that, because the Lord really sent us out here for the elect and teach the gospel to the midst of the nations. So you can hear this or not, but really we want the elect to get it so they can change and be converted and humble their ways and come back to the Lord. Because this is how we destroy this kingdom, by spiritually and mentally coming back to the Lord. Right? They pay a lot of dollars for you not to get this information. YouTube now, If they want to, they can change my live video and change my language. They got it. They got settings that you can change. The AI generated, because they can change your voice on here and make you sound cartoonish, because they're watching YouTubers. They're watching everything. Okay? Second Chronicles chapter 16. Wait, Salaki. Not 16. Second Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. So we have to come lowly. Like I said yesterday, when you picking up that cross, because he said in Luke 9, in order to follow him, you have to deny yourself and pick up your cross. Man, it's hard to be prideful with a heavy ass cross on your back. That's how I know you're not really in the truth if you prideful. I want to be the top guy. How can you do all of that? And that damn cross is heavy as hell. Yahweh Shai didn't even do it. He made himself low. He didn't even boast about himself. This is Luke chapter 9, verse 23. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow him. Let's go fact check it. Let's fact check it. Let's fact check this point. How much would it really weigh, the cross that Yahweh Shai, Jesus had to carry? How heavy was the cross that Jesus had to carry?
The cross beam Jesus carried weighed between 75.
Okay, it says the cross that Yahweh Shai carried was about 75 to 125 pounds. An entire complete cross would have weighed a roughly 300 pounds. Romans execution customs typically had the condemned person carry only the horizontal beam to a permanent vertical stake. So, okay, they only made you carry 75 to 125 pounds, and you had to carry it about 600 meters. That's heavy, huh? No, I don't carry cash. So, huh? Nah. So again, you had to carry about 75 to 125 pounds. So let me ask ChatGPT, because I know this is gonna act funny. So carrying 75, wait, Salaki, y'all. So carrying about 75 to 125 pounds of wood to about 600 kilometers, how bad would that be on your back? We're gonna ask this question. It was really 70, but so it says, if you mean carrying 75 to 100 pounds of wood for a total distance of 600 kilometers, which is 373 miles, that would be extremely demanding. Demanding on your back and entire body, especially if you're carrying it rather than using a cart or a packed animal. The biggest factor, 75 pounds already a very heavy load to prolong and carry. 125 potentially dangerous for sustained carrying without specialized training or equipment. The distance makes it strain enormously. Even if you carry only a fraction of that distance each day, it said each day. We talking about in one day. Your muscle, joints, and spine would repeatedly absorb the load. Carrying the weight on one side and in your arms is much harder on your back than distributing it evenly in a properly fitted pack, right? You could develop muscle strain, back pain, disc irritation, knee and hip problems, and overuse injury. And he telling you to pick up your cross. Imagine a woman, imagine a man. So if you walking and you picking up your cross to follow Yahweh Shai, that joint too heavy for you to be too prideful. And we talking about a spiritual one. Yahushua was carrying his miles in physical time. Being humbled as hell, man. When you come in this truth, you have to have the same humble mindset. That cross is going to be heavy. 600 kilometers, that's 373 miles. Carrying wood on your back. 70 to 125 pounds. That's not good on your back. That's not good on your shoulders. And we talking about spiritual. And look at all of, those, those that are of the Lord, right? They're not carrying that cross, man. That's what comes with this heavy burden. You'll be in the truth for so long and ain't nothing happen. People looking at you sideways, but this is part of the truth, because eventually those that's fully in the ministry, you're going to get touched. Go read the book of Acts. They didn't really get touched in the time of Yahushua. They got touched later on. The ministry is about to get afflicted. For us to have this great kingdom, this kingdom has to be touched. You believing Israelites have to be touched. We have to go through the motion. You have to lose stuff, lose jobs, separate from family. Things are going to happen in this truth. In order for this to fall, you want to see your family going through shit. Yo, I ain't got the lady just asked me for $1 or whatever she was asking for. Yesterday, the one dude stopping everybody. Hey, you got $1? You could see his lip burn. I said, what you need? You hungry? You hungry for smoke or food? He wants smoke. We got to get out of here, man. People think it's crazy because you got a camera and you teaching. But you got people on TikTok acting like Spider-Man. Hey, what you want to do? Oh, you got people standing on TikTok on the corner acting like Spider-Man just to get views. But we over here trying to teach the word of the Lord that everybody say they believe in God. They believe in the Son, Yahushua. But we weird, but them over there acting like Spider-Man not weird. Come on, make it make sense. Women on the corner twerking, they not weird, but we weird because we trying to teach knowledge. Come on, man. You don't want to be like everybody. That's the thing about the elect. The word holy, the Hebrew word for holy is kodash. It means set apart. To be of the Lord, you have to be set apart. Okay? Nah, we didn't. Yeah. Good looks, y'all. See, we got the YouTube, what you call it, cops. We got cops on our joint. We call them the Israelite guards. They guard the chat. Soon as you saying some off stuff, you getting deleted, man. This is the house of learning. Why is y'all playing for it? Go on. Why don't you go to one of the pastors, TD Jakes, message. Why don't you go on their YouTube live and do all of that? Go to Geno Jennings. Why do you go on an Israelite joint? Make it make sense. Okay? So going back to this kingdom being stripped down. Okay? Let's go back. Actually, let me go to this one. Let's go to this one. It's Isaiah chapter 13, verse 2. Lift up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. The banner is the word. The high mountain is America. We have to exalt our voice, right? You have to exalt, right? Prophesy. Shake the hand. Rebuke. Ezekiel 35, it said prophesy. We're prophesying on everything Esau did, from the past to the present and what you're going to do in the future. This is our job, to lift up this word, regardless if they hear or regardless if they forbid. Even for brothers that is coming in this thing and you want to teach, coming out by yourself, even with brothers, it build up your confidence to stand for the Lord by yourself. It's people down there, it's people downtown. But because they don't hear the word, it don't make you more fire because people come up. It's about what you bringing out. The Lord dealing with you. This builds confidence in you. This show you standing for your people. You standing for the word. You standing for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's either you doing it with brothers or you doing it by yourself. Or when you doing sit downs. Teaching this word is pissing them off. The higher ups, the algorithm, you know? So when we go back to Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 4, and I'm going to go back to Isaiah, it says, I will lay thy cities waste. Thou shalt be desolate. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. He told him to prophesy. Isaiah the 13, the Lord told him to lift up a banner. We're at the high mountain. Ezekiel wasn't at the high mountain. Isaiah wasn't at the high mountain. They prophesied against the high mountain. They prophesied against the people that was going to run the high mountain. We're here now. You should be prophesying on their GMO food. My children know more about electronics. They know how to use a TV. They know how to use a microwave. They know how to use an oven. But my daughters don't, they're getting there. But they don't know how to brush their hair, parting their hair. They don't know how to even just do little singles. Blow dry. Our daughters ourselves don't know about a menstrual cycle on their own. Our sons is not even ready to be raised up as a man. They want to play all damn day, which is fine. But we're totally effed up. The thrill of learning about the Lord is gone. I understand our women has to be wives and mothers. But even in the ancient world, women feared the Lord. They were speaking more about the Lord. We lost all of that because being in the hands of the nations. I'm going to just show you the women was being raised up learning about the Lord. They wasn't learning about that ass all day. You know? Or in order to be a wife, you gotta know some type of wisdom. How you gonna know how to really be a good wife or a mother if you not knowing the law, if the man not teaching you, or if you not searching for it? Is this it? This is the book of the history of Susanna, an Israelite, verse 1. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Jehoiakim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chaldeus, a very fair woman, one that feared the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. How could she fear the Lord if she was never taught? It says her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. So this shows you that parents was raising a daughter into the law of Moses, in the law of the Lord, because that's our custom. That's how we conduct ourselves, on how we live in the midst of the nation, how we conduct ourselves as men and women, how we conduct ourselves as priests. The Lord was giving us that understanding through the law, the way of living, how you can eat, your mannerisms towards your brother. If your brother is working for you, how long can he work for you? That's what the law, it was breaking down our living, okay? Which technically we could look, the law would be, our religion, okay? So again, like we read in Isaiah, we got to prophesy on the high mountain, America, and prophesy against Mount Seir. So these top elites and rulers know we prophesying against them. That's why other little stipulations and laws is happening behind the scene. We got a job to do, and the higher elite, starting with Esau, Edom, they got a job to do. We got a job to teach this word, lift up a banner. I don't have a job to go fight. All these Edomites that just walk past, you did not see me. I gotta go kill them now. Hey, you, don't walk over here. You didn't see that. Israelites, we teach what the word say. It's not my time to do anything. It's my time to teach. We at peace with all men. Hey, you offering a job? Okay, hey, Tom. Can I work there? Edomite called me today about deliveries today. Am I cussing him out because I know who I am? No, we don't got that. We're not judges physically. We're judges spiritually right now, condemning you through the word. But when Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai come and change us and give us that power, we're going to be judges in the earth, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Come on. What the Esau and the nations are, they are physical judges. They make laws, legislations. You go to jail, you go to court. When the Israelites get in power, we're going to have that power times 10. Okay? I don't know. Wait, what in the world? Wait, who is not Christian? Oh, no. Wait, hold on. Christian means a follower of Yahushai. So I am a follower of Yahushua. So you're wrong. He said, how are you condemning people when there is no condemnation to those who belong to a Mashiach? First, what nation belongs to a Mashiach? What nation do Yahushua belong to? What nation belongs to him? You could condemn the 2/3 because it's prophecy. You could condemn the other nations because the other nations have no part in salvation. Plain as day. What? You said he for all nations? You're wrong. Yeah, you got to go on timeout. I'm gonna let you go on timeout for that. Okay. Where is it at? I'm gonna put you on timeout. Just because of that, whatever you just said was like probably just so dumb, right? Now the person said Israel, Khan, right? Yahushua didn't die for all people. That wouldn't make sense. Because in the New Testament, it says Yahushua is an atonement for sins. When we go into the law, Leviticus 23, only the Israelites did an atonement for the Lord, starting with the priest, doing the atonement for himself and his household. So how can Yahushua be for all nations if the Bible says he was an atonement? Wow. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. We're just going to show history that you're wrong. You really don't know history. Just know, if one of the brothers don't delete you off the comment section, you're going to become a video. All right, so here we go. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. This is dealing with Hamashiach as the perfect sacrifice. What nation made a sacrifice with the Lord? What nation made a sacrifice with the Lord? Because of sin. Who made an atonement sacrifice to the Lord? We'll see. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. For the law having a shadow of good things to come. Who was the law given to? Psalms 147, verse 19 and 10. And not the very image of the things can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make the comer thereunto perfect. What is Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1 speaking about? Because it said a sacrifice which they offered year by year. What sacrifice is that? Year by year, buddy, old pal. Since you think you know the scriptures. Yo, this brother is, edification. We in the house of learning. Brothers, just flood the chat. Just flood the chat, man. Flood the chat. We gonna show you. I'm gonna show you something very well. Let me show you something. Watch. I'm gonna show you. We're gonna get atonement right now. Atonement. Let's get that for him. Since he know the scriptures, let's get the atonement for him. Do we want Leviticus? Atonement year after year. Yeah, because I just want to get the right one. This is Exodus. Oh man, I don't want to get too many. This Exodus 30 and 10. It says, and Aaron, because Aaron was a Levite, shall make an atonement upon the horn of it once a year with the blood of the sin offerings of the atonements. Once in the year shall he make an atonement upon it throughout upon your generations. It is most holy unto the Lord Yahweh. Wait, who is he speaking to in the book of Exodus, the 30th chapter? Who is he speaking to in Exodus, the 30th chapter? Because we know Aaron is the priest of the Israelites. Am I not right? When we go to Exodus 30 and 11, and the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, when thou takest the sum of the children of Israel after their number. So Aaron, no, you don't get to talk. You can't bring out no John. Don't bring out John, buddy, old pal. Just deal. Let's bring out the scriptures. You talking about Yahushua was for all nations. So we got to go to the point. Wasn't Yahushua an atonement? Wasn't he atonement? Wasn't he a sacrifice? No other nation made a atonement to the Lord for sins. Back to Hebrews 10 and 1, 10 and 2. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because the worshipers, once purged, should have had no conscience of sins. This is dealing with the Israelites, because every time they sin, they had to sacrifice one and then send one on its way out of Israel, basically saying the sins have left Israel. It says, but in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. So what is sin? You just hurt yourself when you speak about the sacrifice of the Lord. Like this is 1 John chapter 3 and verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, and sin is transgression of the law. Who was the law given to? Let's not argue. Let's just make it plain. Who was the law given to? Let's just give a book, a chapter, and a verse. Yeah, I'm not Muslim. Book, chapter, verse. Who was the law given to? Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. It says the law and the judgments and the commandments was given unto Jacob, and they were given to Israel. Plain as day. There's no scripture that the law was given to the other nations. Ha! Oh, another one. Let's go to verse 4. It says, for it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats should take away sin. Therefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared. So it shows all those old ancient sacrifices that, the Israelites did, they really meant nothing, because the Lord, those animal sacrifices wasn't beneficial, because we had to keep killing them. So he said the Lord created a body one. When did he do that? When he first created Yahweh Shai. Because Isaiah 46 and 10 tells you the Lord declared the end from the beginning. So in our understanding, the Lord declared the end from the beginning, that him creating Yahweh Shai, your people are going to fall away from you. And I'm going to send you down there to restore them back to me. Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, verse 18 and 19. Ezra is speaking, the angel was saying, before the worlds and the earth was created, people obeyed me. Who obeyed them? He's speaking about the first spirits, the elect men. We obeyed the Lord. But when we came on the earth, we disobeyed him because we put on corrupted flesh. You don't know the scriptures, man. Okay? If you keep going on Hebrews, when you continue on Hebrews 10, it kills anybody that say Yahweh Shai came from the other nations, because Yahweh Shai was a sacrifice. He was an atonement. So in order to say the other nations, you have to go in history to show the other nations made atonement to the Lord, to make it make sense. You can't say I don't make sense and you not proving you make sense. Show that the heathens made atonement. That's what makes it clear. Show the heathens made a sacrifice to the Lord because of their sins. Their sins. That's what the sacrifice truly was, for sins. Show me the nations was doing that for their sins. Sin is transgressing the law. The law was given to Israel. The law wasn't given to the other nations, so they didn't have the requirements to do sacrifices. Matthew 13:15. For this people's heart are waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. In their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and their hear, and with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and should heal. But blessed is your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Now I'm about to tell y'all something. You remember when the Pharisees was telling Yahweh Shai, or telling, because he was saying he was the Hamashiach. They're like, man, how? Man, you was born in Nazareth. Why didn't Yahweh Shai tell the Pharisees he was born from Bethlehem? He didn't tell them because it wasn't meant for them. He knew the hearts of man already, that they were not the ones to understand the truth. This is why he didn't tell them they was from Bethlehem. This is the same why everybody thinks everybody can be saved, because the Lord didn't give you the understanding. And this is another thing. If our doctrine is wrong, this truth only been out here for 57 years. Christianity been out for thousands of years. The same dumbass teaching everybody teach, it been the same for thousands of years. But now when Hebrew Israelites come out, now y'all want to add parables. Now you want to bring out prophecies. But in all history, Christianity been teaching the same thing. You just advanced. The Trinity, the trio, Jesus is God. That been here for years. But the Hebrew Israelite doctrine only been here for 57 years. When you look at Noah, other nations were speaking of God for 120 plus years. Noah was the only one speaking about the Heavenly Father was going to make it rain. They like, man, it ain't going to rain. Hell no. But it was only one prophet speaking the truth of Yahweh Shem Shai, and everybody else was speaking of other gods. One man proved that his God was real when the Heavenly Father made it rain. So at the end of the day, Christianity been here for thousands of years. Nobody been saved. Doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense at all. Christianity been out here longer than any religion. Rome, Christianity comes from Rome. The Lord still haven't saved us. That's how you know Christianity is a lie. Okay? We're not a part of Christianity. So St. John 4:23, it says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. What does worship mean? Worship means to bow the knee, kiss the hand, or confess the name of. The Israelites here, we bow the knee when we pray. We confess his name when we're teaching the word, and we're going to truly kiss the Lord when we see him. But we do it by coming out and exalting his name. So you worship the Lord in truth. What's truth? The truth is the word. The truth is Yahweh Shai. The truth is book, chapter, verse. Again, who is the number one nation that is the enemy of the Most High and his son? If you can't answer that, you can't say you know your power. That's a very tricky question. I'm not asking about Israelites. I'm asking, who is the number one nation by name? Who's the number one enemy? I'm saying this loud because a lot of y'all looking at me. Who's the number one nation that is the enemy of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai by name? If you know that, you're getting somewhere. If you don't know that, it should bother you. It should make you want to learn more. St. John 7:38. He that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. When you go to 2nd Esdras, the 14th chapter, verse 47, he describes water as a spring, a fountain, and a stream, which is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. The Lord is about learning. We read it in Sirach 51, verse 23. This is a house of learning. We come up here to teach. We don't come in here to play for decorations, to distract you. We come here to teach things that the world is not teaching. You know, I was a man in the world selling drugs, doing the things that I was doing, but I was never told that 50 states in America is going to be destroyed. How somebody going to tell you the country you live in is going to be destroyed? You got to show me that. Because when I used to go to church, no pastor told me America was going to be destroyed. But until somebody really start going in the scriptures and showing prophecy, you're like, damn, I do not like when people lie to me. So it's very serious for you to be like the people of Berea. When somebody teaching, you're supposed to have the ready mind to hear what's being said. You can't learn nothing if you talking. Shut up and hear. Everybody, oh, I know it. I know. I read the whole Bible. Okay, you did? All right. What's this going into? Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Oh, I'm not ready for that. Why the hell did you open your mouth and say you read the whole Bible? You asking me a question. Now I want to ask you a question. Now you like, oh, hey, brother. Oh, come on, brother. You caught me off guard. Then why are you asking me a question? You caught me off guard. This is how you know. Those that claim they know the Lord, they read the Bible, ask them prophecy. I'm not about to go into no law. We're not about to go into the Gentiles or the Jews. We're going to go into prophecy, and that's going to show me, do you know something? Then we can have a conversation. Because if you're trying to tell me I'm wrong, let's go into prophecy. That's how we going to know who in the spirit of the Lord. Brother, ain't no such thing as the spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy. Revelations 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not, I am thy fellow servant of thy brethren, that have the testimony of Yahushua worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Right? Yeah, we know. Yeah, we can't guess over here. You got to go into what the Bible. You got to go into the Bible. It's history in the Bible. It's wisdom in the Bible, and of course, you got the gospel. But again, you got to have the spirit of the Lord to understand it, because it's very deep things in the Bible. Like, if I tell you, what's a tear in the gospel? When the Lord said, I'm going to separate the wheat and the tare, what's the tare? Some people don't know what a tare is. So I'm asking nicely, what is a tare? If somebody, they think they know the Bible, what is a tare? What is a tare? People think they know the Bible. Who is the he-goat? In Daniel 8. And I just read it, and I said who it was. Those that think we wrong, Hebrew Israelites. Christians is not teaching Daniel. So I'm asking those that think they know the Bible, that's Christians that know the Bible more than us, who is the he-goat in Daniel? Daniel the 8th chapter. What nation is the he-goat? Nation. What actual nation is the he-goat? I'll wait for it. Everybody want to ask us a question. Let's go into prophecy. Let's ask those questions. We talking about Gentiles and Greeks. I'm good. What's up?
Oh, you teaching them?
Yeah.
Oh, Israelites.
What's
They
that?
say so. Israel.
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah, not the Israel that's over there.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go into this. Let's go, because people like always dissing Hebrew Israelites. That's cool. I love it. We love it over here, man. Keep talking about us. We love it over here, baby. But what we not gonna do, we not just gonna run our mouth. We gonna go in these scriptures. So let's see if anybody can give the sense to these prophecies. This is Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. A king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. This has not happened yet, because this is Yahushua. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. So in the verses we just read, you did not hear him say any other nations. He first said, in his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Why he ain't speaking about the other nations? So since Jeremiah didn't do that, let's not do that. Let's deal with who we came out here for. So he just said that Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. Let's see what he says in verse 17. No, verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that they shall no more say, the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. That happened so long. Oh, I forgot. We still talking about it. Still making movies about it. But the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. This did not happen. The Lord didn't lead us out of the north country. When Babylon was ruling, the Persians took the kingdom. Then after the Persians, Alexander the Great beat the Persians. Then the Greeks gave their power to the Romans. But this verse just said, the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Wait, something don't sound right. This did not happen yet. So why is we jumping to other nations when Jeremiah didn't go to no other nations? From verse 5 to 7, he kept speaking about Israel. So when we come up here, we're speaking about Israel. Why is you bringing other nations? So when we deal with Gentiles, we're going to tell you the understanding that we know is saying, because Jake was scattered in other nations. There's no Israelite in the earth that was scattered throughout the earth that were called Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Especially in America, you either called Negroes or African American, Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Panamans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Somalian Indians, Argentina, Mexican, so on and so on. You're not called your actual name. You're called something else. Okay? When we go into Jeremiah 17, because the Lord getting hot tonight. Jeremiah the 17th chapter, which is first the northern kingdom in a certain sense because they got removed from the land. But really in this sense, this is really dealing with the southern kingdom. Jeremiah 17, verse 4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy inheritance that I give thee. And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. This first happened to the northern kingdom. 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. The northern kingdom got removed out of the land because they turned their back to the Lord. But guess what? The southern kingdom did worse than the northern kingdom. And then the Lord prophesied that they was going to get kicked out of the land. And then eventually it was prophesied the Israelites was going to be scattered everywhere. Everywhere. Right? When you go to Hosea, these is prophecies, man. We talking about things before they happen. Hosea 8:8. Israel was swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles, as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Hosea first was prophesying to the northern kingdom. So it was Israel that was swallowed up by the Gentiles, the Assyrian. But as a whole, it was the southern and northern kingdom that was swallowed. First the northern kingdom and then the southern kingdom. Okay? Yeah, Mr. J Fly, I don't even know what you even going into. Jeremiah 12:14. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh against all my evil neighbors that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land. Right? But what did he said that against all the evil neighbors that touch the inheritance. The inheritance first is Israel and then the land. We are the Lord's portion. We are his inheritance. I mean, really, Yahweh Shai. We were given to Yahweh Shai. Right? That's beautiful. And pluck out the house of Judah from among them, right? And it was prophesied before it even happened. Like when you look at Jeremiah, the 12th chapter, let me see. Yeah, when you look at Jeremiah, the 12th chapter, that actually happened before the southern kingdom got removed out of the land. But when you go to 2 Kings 17, you see the northern kingdom already get taken out of the land, right? Because they started, what is it? When you go to Hosea 4:12, it said Israelites will believe in wood. A damn transformer just walked past laughing because we teaching the word. But Morse, he's softer than my damn daughter. Softer than my damn daughter, man. Literally. Nigga, softer than my damn daughter. They ain't worry about the word. Guess what? Anybody talk sideways about the men of the Lord, not even me, brothers on there, I'm telling you, the Lord gonna get y'all in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. A lot of people be thinking the men of the Lord, they think we weak, man. Your wife might think that, and she might not say it. You know, you might lose your job, you ain't getting no funds, you know. And your wife, she might see the potential, but she don't really see you as no God in the Lord. She don't really see you the way other men, I ain't gonna lie, the women don't see us the same way other brothers do. You know? And these fools right here that's in the world, look, our wives see us better than them. Our children, my children, even though I tell them I'm not Yahweh Shai, my daughters see me as Yahweh Shai, but they'll say Yahweh Shai in you. My little daughters can see this more than them, man. They demons, in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai gonna get them. Okay? So this Hosea 4, verse 12 in the NLT, it says, they ask a piece of wood for advice. They think a stick can tell them the future. Longing for idols has made them foolish. They have played the prostitute, serving other gods and deserting their God. This was the northern kingdom before the southern kingdom. They believe in a damn stick. Go, anybody that's on here, go on YouTube and type in John from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. No, type in John with John and his plaint. John with his plaint on Ed, Ed, and Eddie. You're going to see John and his dumbass stick. That's who Israel is, man. Yeah, he didn't forsake the Israelites. Hell no, he did. That's why Paul said, I am an Israelite. Again, just for anybody that is on here, the New Testament is coded, and it wasn't written in the time where they was prophesying. Everything that was written in the New Testament was written later on, but everything that they were referencing or teaching was from the law. Any verse in the New Testament that says the scriptures or it is written, that's the law, history, Psalms, or prophets. You could choose any verse that say written or scriptures. That's going back to the Old Testament. Even Paul's words is doing the same thing. Okay? So now, until brothers drop it, he said, I just post that scripture. That's the spirit. Con. It's a fact. Right? So, yep. So we can get let's get other prophecies. Right? Because everybody want to say Gentiles and all of this. Let's just get every prophecy that we can name that points to Israel. Let me show you even the Israelites was called heathens. Right? First dealing with 2nd Ezra chapter, it's 2nd Ezra chapter 2. Verse 33. It says, I, Ezra, receive a charge of Yahweh Shemar Shai upon the Mount Horeb, that I should go unto Israel. Do you think it's the place or the people? He was supposed to go to the people Israel. But when I came unto them, they said not at me and despised the commandments of the Lord. So you know it wasn't a place. He was going to the people, and the people of Israel despised the commandments of the Lord. Ezra was in the time of the southern kingdom, because the southern kingdom went into the Persian Empire after the Babylonians. It says, and therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look, what's up, man? Look for your shepherd. He shall give you an everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand that shall come in the end of the world. End of the world is Esau, right? Because he's the end of the world, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. But the other nations were never told that they had a shepherd. It's the everlasting rest. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Who was told that they was going to have an everlasting covenant? The Israelites. So Ezra right here just called the Israelites heathen. Why? Because they despised the commandments and they praised the heathen ways. When you despise the ways of the Lord and you cleave to something else, you become a heathen, right? When you go up to 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 7, what did he say? He said, I said at verse 5, it says, as for me, O Father, I call upon thee a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant. Who did not keep the covenant? The ones that got removed, taken out of Egypt. Those are the ones that broke the covenant. How can the other nations join in a covenant? They was never a part of the old one. That's why where it say being grafted in, when Paul say grafted in, only the Israelites can be grafted in. Especially when you've been defiled, you get to be grafted back in, man. Right? So 2nd Ezra 2 again, 2nd Ezra 2 and 5. For as me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant. Who is these children? The Israelites. That thou bring them to confusion. We're in confusion because now I'm an Israelite. Let me see your ID. Where's your father? It's confused. Nobody can really just say you really are. This is why we got to go to the prophecy. This is why our spirit bear witness, because it's not the same as old. Okay? It says, in their mother to be spoiled, which is that land, and that there may be no offspring of them. Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant. What is your name being removed out of earth? Being called Hebrew Israelites and your tribal name. All the African Americans on their ID should be Judah. That's your name, stripped. Hebrew Israelite, stripped. All of that is stripped. Now you two continents. You're two nationalities. You're African and you're American. Wow, ain't that amazing, brother? We're African American. I can go to Africans on the west side and be like, why you don't want to be African American? He said, hell no, I don't want to be. I don't want it. They don't want to be two continents. I'm African. I'm from there. You know? You Israelites, you are an ancient nation. An ancient race. You are an ancient race. But when we turn away from the Lord and we choose heathen customs, you become a Gentile. You become a heathen. You become a dog. That's why the Canaanite woman in the New Testament was considered a dog. Jake, when you're not in the ways of the Lord, you're a dog. When you're raised in a custom of the heathen, you're a dog. You're a heathen. Okay? Paul was a Pharisee. He knew where he was from, but he said he was an Israelite. He wasn't considered a dog. Okay? That's a prophecy. Let's get another one. Let's get another prophecy, man, because some people... Let's get another prophecy, man. Let's get another one. Let's see if y'all know this one. When you go to Zephaniah, the 1st chapter, verse 7 and 8, this is a prophecy. It says, hold thy peace at the presence of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai power, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is at hand. For the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai hath prepared a sacrifice. He hath bid his guests, calling him by name. What is this? If everybody say they know the Bible, people want to argue us about... People want to argue us about Jews and Gentiles. The Bible for everybody. Okay, we've been had that argument for all these years. So can we stop? Let's argue prophecy. So I'm going to choose, I've been choosing the whole topic the whole time. What is this sacrifice? Who are the guests that's being bid? Because bid means to call by name or call to a name. So what is this sacrifice? This did not happen yet. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord Yahweh's sacrifice, that I will punish the princes and the king's children, and all such as are clothed in strange apparel. This is a prophecy. When did this happen? Those that say they know the Bible so well, this is a prophecy. When did this happen? Since I'm not going to get an answer, we go to another prophecy. But that's speaking of like the 2/3 and the other nations that's going to be destroyed during World War III. The 2/3, a lot of them going to die in Babylon. Some of you Israelites are going to die in these other nations. But the true death is in Babylon, in Israel. Okay? Let's get another one. Everybody be thinking they know something. Okay? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 1. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18. And I lifted up my eyes and I saw, behold, four horns. Horns means power, king or kingdom. So what is the 4 horns that Zechariah prophesying? And I could definitely show you that Zechariah is speaking of something that was said before. Do any one of y'all know the 4 horns he's speaking about, since everybody know the Bible? Since everybody want to say, hey, brother, you guys, your doctrine is wrong. You're racist. Okay, we're racist. Now, prove me we're wrong. Who is these 4 horns? When somebody say our doctrine is wrong, you're talking about the whole thing, not just one part. So for us to say the Bible's for Hebrew Israelites, we can just use prophecy. Can you? That's going to take away from you even speaking of Jews and Gentiles. Because now you got to jump into history. You cannot jump to Matthew if you never read the 1st and 2nd Maccabees. It wouldn't make sense. So the 4 horns, since nobody is answering, the 4 horns is the Assyrian Babylonian Empire, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, and the Romans. Those are the 4 horns. It says, and I said unto the angel that walked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah and Israel and Jerusalem. Assyria scattered the northern kingdom, Babylon removed the southern kingdom, and then Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, they scattered the southern kingdom. But as a whole, the Romans scattered the southern and the northern kingdom when you look at the end times. Verse 20, the Lord Yahweh showed me 4 carpenters. Then I said, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head, but these are to come to freedom, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. So who are the 4 carpenters, since everybody has understanding of the scriptures? I already told you the 4 horns. The 4 horns. The Syrians, Babylonians, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, and the Romans. Those are 4 horns. So what's the 4 carpenters? Since everybody say they know the Bible. Since Hebrew Israelites is wrong. In order to say we're wrong when it comes to the gospel, you have to know prophecies. So who the 4 carpenters in Zechariah 1? Since nobody is answering, nobody's answering. I'm going to give you the answer. So since the four horns was the Assyrians, Babylonians, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, and the Romans, the four carpenters is the Persians, because the Persians took over the Babylonians' territory. The Greeks took over the Persians' territory. The Romans took over everybody else's territory and became more diverse than all the other beasts. The fourth beast, or the fourth carpenter, is Yahweh Shai. And what was Yahweh Shai called in the New Testament? Isn't that the carpenter's son? So if you don't know prophecy, don't tell us we wrong, because then we gonna have to test the doctrine. When they say our doctrine, you're talking about parables, dark sayings, prophecies, and law. Y'all gotta point to what part is wrong. When you say doctrine is wrong, you saying the whole thing. So let's go into prophecy, because prophecy makes it plain to show you who the Bible for and who the Lord is going to save. Yeah, the stone that's going to destroy him, that's the Son of Man, you know, who the world innately calls Jesus. But when you translate the name Jesus, it means earth dirt. When we say in the Bible, his name's supposed to mean he saves. So what would be his name in Hebrew? It would be Yahweh Shai. Okay? We could keep going at prophecies. We could keep going on prophecies, because I'm not seeing no Christians say anything now. Okay? Prophecies is where it's at. You want to say Gentiles and all of that? That sounds all good and dandy. But if you don't know prophecy, your understanding is not going to be complete. It has to be complete. Let's go to the last book. Let's go to Revelations. This is the kicker. This is where we lose you. So if we went into prophecy and you can't answer that, when we go to Revelations, which is after all of the gospel, we're going to go into some very vital information. If you can't give the sense of that, you can't tell no Israelite what they teaching from the gospel or the whole Bible is wrong, because not one of y'all lessons that deal with prophecy is accurate. So let's get this one. Let me start with the easy one. Yeah, blacks are natives, but you wouldn't be calling them that. It's just Israelites are the natives. When you go to Revelations 2 and 9, my question is, Revelations 2 and 9, who is this first dealing with? Revelations 2 and 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blaspheme of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Synagogue as in chief house of Satan. So who does that pertain to first? First, I just gave the easiest verse. Revelations 2 and 9, 3 and 9. Who is them that call themselves Jews and are not? Who does those verses pertain to first? If people reading the Bible, can somebody give the answer? Who call themselves Jews and are not, but they are the synagogue of Satan? Who does those verses pertain to first? Who do they pertain to first? If you can give the answer. And I know it's not a lot of brothers that's in the faith that's on here. I know it's people that's not in the faith. And I'm asking y'all hard questions. Let me not go to where you think you know I know who the Gentiles is. Okay, that means you know. That means you think you know that area. So let's go into prophecies, because prophecies is the end result. So if you say Gentiles, why are the Gentiles are not mentioned by name when it comes to so-called salvation that you guys say? But when it comes to Israel, they're mentioned by name. So Revelations 2 and 9, 3 and 9, who is those that call themselves Jews but are the synagogue of Satan? Can anybody answer in the comment section, since everybody think they know something? Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guess what? We're going to look at it that you don't got the answer. Let's see the Jewish people who are in the land at this time. See, I said, who's the first reason? Woo-hoo-hoo! There we go. My brother Gabriel Swords, he did it. Now, Marvin, you not wrong. That's the second, because you got to know sometimes scriptures can be one-fold, two-fold, six-fold, but this scripture is twofold. In that time, it was Israelites, because only Israelites are real Jews. They were calling themselves Jews, but what did Paul say in Romans 2. To be a Jew is to be one inwardly. So these ones that was calling a Jew, they wasn't Jew inwardly. They were of the chief house of Satan. So that means they was a demon. Those were Israelites. The second fold is Edomites, because those are the ones now. Okay? That's a twofold question. Just like when I asked you a twofold question earlier, who is the number one enemy to the Lord as a nation? That's a twofold question. The first nation that's the enemy of the Lord is the non-believing Israelites. Second would be Esau, Edom. If you don't know that, you cannot argue somebody and say, your doctrine wrong. You don't know the Bible. Okay, let me ask you a question. Who's the number one enemy of the Lord? And you're supposed to say the non-believing Israelites and then the Edomites. And if you don't know that, you cannot tell somebody that's teaching the Bible they don't know what they're saying, but you don't even know that. Okay? So now we got I just gave you a plain question. Yeah, see? And that's what they say, a prophet is subject to a prophet. This is how you know a man. When you know the fruits. Now you can know the fruits by the people he labor with, but the fruit in himself. Humility, patience, he's slow to anger, and he's edifying the sheep. Do we get grumpy to feed the sheep? When y'all ask a question, I stop my lesson to answer. It doesn't mean that I'm that guy. It's just calling a title to a man that's being moved by the Lord. Anybody can read the Bible, but that doesn't mean you understand it. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, wait up. You see, the person that's opening their mouth, they just put a hole in their lip. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2. In order to understand the Bible, is one thing, that I wasn't taught in the Christian church, but now we about to be taught. So you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10. It says, but the Most High have revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yet the deep things of the Most High. Have you searched the deep things? That's to show you if the Spirit somewhat is working with you. It says, for what man knoweth the things of man, save the Spirit of man which is in him? Even so the things of the Most High knoweth no man, but the Spirit of the Most High. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of the Most High, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of the Most High, which things also we speak not in the words which man wisdom teacheth. So we don't speak in the words of man's wisdom, but with the Holy Ghost teaches, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. A natural man is somebody that's just of the flesh. You're not going to know these things because they're spiritual. Just like when I went into prophecy, if you don't know somewhat a prophecy from the basics to the heart, this is where you got to calm down and come to a student level. Everybody got to stop trying to be a teacher. If you can't understand the small parts to the hard parts, and I'm talking about the small parts of the law, the small parts of wisdom, the small parts in history, the small parts in parables, the small parts in prophecy. If you can't understand the small parts, how you going to understand the hard? Here we go. This is another question. We about to close soon, but this is another question. Let's test everyone. This is my question to everybody. What does the word parable mean? It's one answer. It's two. It's 4 words. 4 words. 4 words. What does parable mean? It's 4 words. 4 words. What does parable mean? What does parables mean? You can even go look it up if you want to. It's a 4-word answer. What does parable mean? And if you can't answer this in the comment section, this is another reason why you should not be telling somebody that what their doctrine is on and off. You don't even know what parable mean? Come on. Somebody got to know. What does parable mean? It's a four-letter answer. I just give it to you. What does parable mean? I know a lot of, I know the Bible. Oh, I'm smarter than him. If you smarter than me, hey, I'm cool with that. What is the four-letter word? What does parable mean? What does parable mean? You asking me a question, I'm asking a question. Yo, y'all see this? Somebody asking me a question, I'm asking them a question. What does parable mean? What the hell? Oh yeah, you gotta get off of this lie. I don't even know why you even said that. Yo, can somebody answer me? What does parable mean? Like this is why I say to myself, when it be like the little questions or the higher, if I can't answer it, I gotta get back on my grind. I gotta go. You gotta get in there. I'm gonna just give y'all the answer since nobody is answering. A parable. Is four words. Parable. Earthly story. Heavenly matter. A parable is an earthly story. A heavenly matter. It's a story that draws parables to other stuff. No. But I like how you said it that way. I like how you said it. But truly, a parable is an earthly story, but a heavenly matter. A parable is a heavenly matter. This is a heavenly parable, but it's a heavenly story, right? Let me show you a parable in the scriptures. Let's just go to a nice parable. Actually, I'll go to the hard one. It's hard to some that don't understand, but it's really easy. Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. This is the parable of the wedding. It says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish." This is a parable. Before I even read all of this, let's see if anybody can give the answer. What is the parable to this? And the 2 verses give you the sense. What is, because it's a earthly story, but a heavenly matter. So what is the heavenly matter? Who are the 5 wise? And who are the 5 foolish? Who are they an example of? Can anybody give me the answer? Can a brother put down Matthew 25, verse 1 and 2? This is a parable, an earthly story, but a heavenly matter. The heavenly matter is, who is the 5 wise and the 5 foolish supposed to be? Yeah, a parable is the story that Yahushua is telling him. I didn't say that. I said, what is parable? What does it mean? It is a earthly story in a heavenly matter. It's a heavenly matter. It's a story, but it's literally a heavenly matter. It's basically a decoded message. Yep. Okay, and put verse 2. Okay, thank you. The water. No, that's somebody else. Okay, the 5 wise had the spirit of God, and the foolish wives wait, hold on. The foolish wise did not. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, the foolish didn't have the spirit. Okay. I like that. I like that answer, but that's not it. I'm saying who are they symbolic to? That's the heavenly matter. That's oil in the lamp. Yeah, the wisdom. Yeah, the oil is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Your faith, your understanding. You know, the knowledge of the truth. That's your oil. But I'm saying, what are the 5 wise, the 5 foolish? What are they an example of? If this is a heavenly matter, that means that they're an example of people that are living, or people. It's pointed to a situation. I'm trying not to give you that answer, but I'm seeing some people might not have the answer. It's 39 people in here, so that must mean y'all might not have the answer. Wait, hold on. Israel ready and prepared. Okay. Yep. Now the brother. Okay, that's the 5 wise, which would be the elect, God's children, and those who are not. Okay, beautiful. But the 5 foolish are the non-believing Israelites. The 5 wise are the believing ones. You see, that's a parable some people would not understand, Some people will look at Matthew 25 and say that they're literal virgins. A virgin just means untouched. And when you go to Revelations 14, it says that the 144,000 was not defiled by women. The women is really going into doctrine. It's going into wine. They wasn't defiled by doctrine. The Lord considered doctrine a woman. He considered doctrine wine. Okay? So Matthew 25 is speaking about like symbolic to the elect and the non-elect. Those that have oil and those that don't have oil. And they have time to get the oil, but they choose not to. And then the 5 wise say, go buy some. When they go buy some, Yahushua returns, and then the door is shut. What is that symbolic to? When the time when Noah went into the ark, the Lord shut the door on him, so he couldn't open the door. Right? Look, Matthew 25, verse 11. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open up to us. No, verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the doors were shut. What other precept is going to line with that? When you go back to the time of Noah, when him and his family went into the ark, the Lord shut the door. It always been about the elect and the non-elect. Let me just fact check that. Yeah, I gotta go, man. I gotta go get this working, man. But let me get this for y'all. Let me see if I can get this parable. This precept. This is Genesis chapter 7, verse 16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as the Most High had commanded him, and the Lord Yahweh shut him in. So when you go back, the Lord shut Noah and his family in. Matthew 25, verse 10, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. This is a heavenly conversation we having. The Lord is going to do the same thing he did with Noah and his family. He's going to do the same thing on this side. So the non-believers of Israel is not going to get salvation on this side. They're going to be part of the first death, but the elect is going to be part of the first resurrection. That's Revelations, the 20th chapter. This is my second time seeing the brother dropped it. No, this is my second time seeing this verse. Ecclesiastes 5:1. Keep thy foot. Well, okay, yeah, yup. That's good. Yeah, anybody saying something off, just delete them. Screenshot it or screen record it, make it a lesson. Make it a lesson. Let's go to Revelations 20 real quick so I can show you. Revelations chapter 20. When you go to verse 1 and 3, this is speaking in the time of the fall of Rome, and when the Lord put them, when Yahushua had them damn near in the caves. Okay? When you go to verse 4, John the Revelator, his vision is jumping from one point to another point. So when you go to verse 4, it's going into the end time with the charagma. Then when you jump to verse 5, it goes into this end time. So it says, let me just read verse 4, and it says, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark on their foreheads. Speaking about the charagma, the RFID chip, or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. The reason why I say 1,000, because it's going to take 1,000 years just to establish everything. When you go back to Genesis 1, 2, and 3, when it took the Lord day 1, day 2, and 3, when you go to 2 Peter chapter 3, you find out a day to the Lord is 1,000. So it took a Lord 1,000 years to make everything on day 1. So it's going to take the Lord 1 day to establish everything, which is really 1,000 years. Okay? So the top elect is going to be with the Lord for that 1 day. That's going to be the start for the building of Yahushua's kingdom. Verse 5. The rest of the dead lived not again until 1,000 years were finished. That's starting with the other nations. Esau, Edom, those that die on this side, the Hamites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, and you Israelites, because you were part of the first death. I mean, the second death. The first death is the flood. The second death is the lake of fire, the destruction, the earth shaking to and fro. Those that don't get beamed up, they're a part of the first death. I mean, those because it is gonna be some people in different lands that didn't get bombed. So not everybody gonna be in a damn cave or a bunker. Okay. Where is it? Verse 6. So it says, blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. The first resurrection is to get beamed up and to receive salvation on this side. Okay, that's the taste. That should be the first crops of the resurrection. It's not to taste death on this side. But if you're not filling yourself with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you're going to taste death on this side. It's nothing me or you can do. Beamed up is the same thing that you read in Acts 1. We say beam because that's in our translation. I mean, that's in our English, like, beamed up. But in the time in the ancient world, he ascended up. This is Acts chapter 1, verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Right? He was taken up. The same way as being beamed up. He was being taken up by a chariot of Yahweh Shem Yahushai into the heavens. What the world say UAPs or UFOs, the government tell you they real. We know they real because the scriptures speak about them. But the scriptures don't call them UAPs. The scriptures don't call them UFOs. They call them the horsemen of the Lord, the chariots of Israel, a whirlwind, pillar, pillar of fire, pillar of clouds. They call them clouds, right? The chariots have multiple names, but they're the chariots of the Lord. Today's society, like it's a car, a SUV here, a SUV here, a SUV there, and my SUV. That's a chariot. In the ancient world, you had the chariots with the horses pulling the sleigh or whatever you call it. That's a chariot, right? What chariot gets on the water? A boat, a yacht, a ship. What's some chariots that's in the air? Airplanes, jets, helicopters. Those flying chariots. And even the Heavenly Father has chariots, because who gave the man the mindset to make an engine, to make a car? That was all Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? And just because brothers, the dude asked what is chariots or beamed up, let me just show you in history, because even Elisha, he said it. Let me get it before one of my brothers get it, because I know brothers be having quick fingers, right? Let me get this before one of my brothers get it. This is 2 Kings chapter 2 in verse 11. It says, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, right? Separated them. And Elisha went up by a whirlwind into heaven. You see, we hear whirlwind. And Elisha saw it and cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them to pieces. This shows you, in order to get in the chariot, you must die. Because it just said his clothes was rent off of Elijah. His clothes, his mantle is like this. It was ripped off of him. How? Because in order for you to get into a chariot, you got to die. This body has to die off. And it dies off spiritually. Not the way I kill you and then you get slumped. No, it's just a complete transformation from one transformation to another. But he was going into the spirit world because Elijah was going to come back down to fulfill his lot again. We get our real spiritual body when Yahweh Shai come. But in order to go in a chariot, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. The chariot is a form of the kingdom. Only Elisha, Elijah, and Yahweh Shai got beamed up. Not no Edomite, not nobody else. To get beamed up is to be taken up. And that's how the children of Israel are going to get beamed up. Look at that. Brothers is dropping the same precept. The Spirit is on brothers tonight. Okay? So it's many things. So the chariots of Israel is going to be the ones that's going to come and make war. Right? Oh, man. See, I said I was going to stop, but I got to get in there. Let's go to Revelations, the 12th chapter, verse 7. Real quick. Lord willing, I can end with this. Lord willing. We'll see. Revelations chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. This is not talking about the heavens where the Father is in Yahweh Shai. This is talking about the heavens in the air. Heaven on earth, but heaven in the air, where the firmament is at, in the sky. Right? It says there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. Right? Who is the dragon? The dragon is Rome. His angels is his allies, the other nations. The angels is his equipment, technology, the tools that he used. The angels of the Lord, Michelangelo, Gabriel, the angels that's in the heaven, and the elect men that are angels, man. That's why when you go to Daniel 12:1, Michael, that angel is going to stand up for us, because that's how bad it's going to be. It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven, right? Because they're going to lose tremendously. When you go to 2nd Esdras 13, I'm sorry, y'all, it's just things keep rolling. Things keep rolling off the lip. This 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are on the that are upon the face of earth. How are you going to deliver us? He's going to send Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai is going to send the angels 4 corners of the earth, and they are going to take Israel up. And he shall come with zeal over them that dwell on the earth. So Yahweh Shai going to come with zeal. Then Paul said he have a zeal for the Lord, but not according to knowledge. Yahweh Shai is going to come back with zeal to deliver those that believe, those that are faithful. He's going to come with zeal. Oh, I got to go get them. I got to go get my people. They believe, right? He's going to come with zeal. It says, and one shall overtake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another. The spirit world is a realm. This is a realm. China is a realm. Africa is a realm. These are all different realms, but of course it's different nations. But let's just be real. Yahweh Shai is coming from another realm, and he's bringing that glory from that realm with him. Man, it's going to be fire, man. That's why it says in Wisdom of Solomon 5:1-2, it says, he shall have a strange salvation. Hey, call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this is edifying, man. Like we said, the title, even though the Lord had us go into other places, but in order for the next kingdom, this kingdom has to be taken, and the next kingdom that's going to come is going to be better than this kingdom times. No, wait, no. If we talking about the 24 elders, the 24 elders is already in the heavens. He's going to come and get the elect that's on the earth. The other elect is in the spirit world with him, and they're going to come with him. That's why 1 Thessalonians 4 say that we're not going to stop them from changing. We're not going to stop them that are asleep, because those that are asleep are going to be transformed first before those that are on the earth. Facing the east, call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. For those that are new to the channel, Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahweh Shai is who the world innately calls Jesus the Christ. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of great millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. We're talking about the apostles on down. Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered 4 corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word, Lord willing as a whole, that we all continue in sound doctrine. Shalom to the Akwaf, the sisters of his faith. Lord willing, you continue to pursue your lot. And with that, Lord willing, you was edified. I just want to show y'all something. I am at the M&T Bank, and it's just amazing. They got certain symbols that you can see that that's ancient symbols. But it was just something that just stuck out. You got the word up here that says commerce and industry. In America, through the Spirit, is an industry. Actually, let's look at that. Let's man. I'm sorry, y'all. Something just came up. Um, okay, industry is a group of companies or businesses that make the same kind of goods or offer similar services. America is a industry, and even all these other countries, they're on the scheme. If this nation got a currency, they're on the scheme. If this nation trying to hurry up and get chips, and this nation is, and that nation is, they're part of the scheme. It just, they look like enemies. When we play the game Battlefield, we're just people playing the game of Battlefield. We just get into it. But when we done with the game, we fold it, and then, hey, yo, you play the video game, you talking all that shit, but when the game come off, yo, bro, you want to go get something to eat? All of them are in a unit. Yep, you say United States. United States mean a federal corporation, an agency, department, commission, a board, and other entities of the United States, and an instrumental of the United States, right? Because remember, they used to be called United States of America. Now they're called U.S. because it's an institution. It's a company. It's a corporation, right? So look at this. Let me flip my camera, y'all. Look at that. They put commerce. Ain't nothing else. Buffalo is known for like having I think one of the first manufacturing jobs. General Motors, Ford, all of that is in Buffalo. But of course you got it in other places, but we were known for factory jobs. Look, this is all Roman detail. All of it is Rome detail. Look at the building itself. This is all Roman detail. Then they got, I can't really show you, but they got a Roman dome on the top of the roof. A Roman dome. Y'all remember the Roman temple? Salaki, y'all remember the Roman temple? The Roman temple had a dome on it. Hold on. The Roman temple, if y'all know about Rome, like right across from the Colosseum, they had a dome. They got a golden dome. That's like if you go look at the I think it was a temple. I think it was a temple right next to the Vatican. You can go look. They got a dome on the roof. This is all Roman, man. All of it is Roman. Pillars, tall ass buildings, you know. We're living in Rome all over again. Okay? All like these railroads, like Buffalo, a lot of the streets is paved over train tracks over and over and all throughout the city. Jake, your forefathers did all of this. All of this, man. All of these buildings, look, they got City Hall down there. They got the Egypt. If I go down this street down there, they got an Egypt Dick in the middle of the town, man. You got to understand, Esau put sorcery in front of you, man. Statues, right? Somebody that did something like, you got to know the system that you in, you know? Look, you got M&T here. Then you got a whole nother one right there. They draining us, man. We're not in a system where you're supposed to take things very lightly, you know? Because under the citizens, you have government. Over the government, you have businesses. Over the businesses, you have banks, more banks, more banks, more banks. We are in a system. The more you grow in knowledge, the more angry you're supposed to be spiritually. I'm about to go do what I got to do, charge my phone. I'm about to go work. I'm at peace with people. But when it comes to the word, you are spiritually angry because of the lies. If this world knew who we was, Jake, you would not be walking to your car. People wouldn't even be asking you for $1. People would be giving you money, you know? That's why when we drink, when we smoking, some of us, our minds get diluted. How you think you know everything? You smoke so much, but you ain't getting this information. Guess what? You did a good job when you dilute your mind because you'll never want to learn. This is what they want us to be at, you know? So brothers come out here to teach this treasure because this world is not giving it to us. I can't come out here and speak of money. Well, why would Jake, some people that when we come up here, they think we performing, we singing, or we want money. Because Jake promoted teaching for money. Or sometimes Jake was doing it and singing. Like, it's supposed to be critical with teaching. So, Lord willing, that was, edifying. Maybe another time when I do another live, we can have another scenery and we could show some more history, because Buffalo has so much history. Where I live at is a native burial. All the land that's over it is houses now, but the land underneath it was an Indian burial, just like another area in another area, but these are things that you want to know, because Esau, the nation of Edom, has no cares for really no nation except for his own, and except for those that are in high statures. So brothers that's in this faith, we only care for those that care for the faith. We don't care for y'all that's playing around. Hey, look, hey, maybe the Lord might take some of y'all out of other congregations, but if you're not teaching the Charagma, you are just like the Pharisees that didn't know Yahushua was born from Bethlehem. You believe and know Yahushua was born from Bethlehem, but you think the Charagma is spiritual. If you can't get that, that shows the Lord only allowed you to know some. It should bother you in the spirit that the Lord only gave you enough. So, facing the east, giving all praise again to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, GMS, from the elders, apostles, on down. Mighty shalom to the hopeful elect scattered four corners of earth. Continue to be diligent. Shalom to the Akwaf. And with that, shalom, abad, babal.